Hey Tone, let's take him to church. Understand this. You will sit here with everything you need to survive in this wicked world. I'm just here to remind you. This is for anybody who has forgotten and got lost.
Right.
I just want you to let you know one thing. I came to deliver this message. Look. God has blessed you with everything you need. If you look inside, you'll find everything you need. God has blessed you with everything you need. God has blessed you with everything. God has blessed you with everything you need. If you look inside, you'll find everything you need. God has blessed you with everything you need. Let's go. Check it out. Although I thank and praise God for this life of mine, at times I feel like I'm living on the main line. In gin pop with my people like that cage kind. On a planet that's a prison at the same time. In a place where everybody tries to take our grace. Forced to live in this state as a hated saint. Scared to go cause we don't know our own strength. And when we use it we get told we should withhold our own strength. But check this, God gave our people what we need to be. Conquerors over our enemies are free. And with genetics on our side we're gonna outlast the hate from below that labeled us an outcast. They wanna break us because they ain't us. And we can reproduce in any womb that'll take us. We're blessed by this one true fact. So put a fist up in the air if you're proud to be black. Know that God has blessed you with everything you need. If you look inside you'll find everything you need. God has blessed you with everything you need. God has blessed you with everything. God has blessed you with everything you need. If you look inside you'll find everything you need. God has blessed you with everything you need. Go. One time for the total sum of everything, one and the same. He balances your brain and in your heart she remains. He pushes you to persevere, she keeps you sane. He gives you all your strength and she takes away the pain. He raises up a soldier to lead all his followers while she fills you when you're hollow and comforts you in sorrow. She nurtures you to build as he teaches you to kill every doubt and every fear till your destiny's revealed. He offers discipline to resist what tempts you. But if you fall, you'll never fail to forgive you. He strengthens you for any weapon formed against you. With compassion to let you know she's always with you. He gives you will and the skill to care for self. But she's the reason why you also think of everyone else. He keeps you in the fight until time's right. That's when she provides you with light to bring you back to life. You know God has blessed you with everything you need. If you look inside you'll find everything you need. God has blessed you with everything you need. God has blessed you with everything. God has blessed you with everything you need. If you look inside you'll find everything you need. God has blessed you with everything you need. God has blessed you with everything. I've got everything. I've got everything. Cause I came with everything. I've got everything. I've got everything. Cause he gave me everything.
All right, shout out to my YouTube family. Shout out to my Facebook family.
She gave you everything you need. He gave you everything. Let the church say. Been so blessed. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight, but don't forget, he gave you everything you need when he sent you.
Can you go 31 days without drinking alcohol? Are you trying to get fit and healthier in the new year? If so, I want to invite you to join the Sobriety and Black Families for our second annual Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge 2023. Now for this challenge, there are only 2 rules. Rule number 1, no alcohol from January 2nd to February 2nd of 2023. Rule number 2, you've got your own personal fitness or health challenge. You get to choose your challenge. Maybe you want to lose weight, increase your bench max. Maybe you want to be more consistent in the gym. Maybe you want to run a certain amount of distance in a certain amount of time. Or maybe you want to cut out other things in your life like red meat, pork, sex, weed, whatever it is. You get to choose your own personal fitness or health challenge to go along with the alcohol-free challenge. We even start on January 2nd so that you can bring in the new year however you choose. Now, if you're interested in joining us, you can go to www.sobrietyandblack.com, click sign up, and join us for the Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge 2023. All right. Welcome, everybody. Want to thank you for showing up, and for those who are watching this later, hey, welcome to the show. My name is Hanif Satterfield with Sobriety and Black. I'm author of Sobriety and Black, and this is what we call our SOS series, Sermons on Sobriety. And essentially what it is taking some passages that I had referred to in my book, Sobriety and Black, talking about those, breaking them down from a sobriety and recovery standpoint. All right. I want to make sure I'm clear about that. It's from a sobriety and recovery standpoint, but the information we talk about really can deal with any form of improvement, because sobriety and recovery is a form of self-improvement. So you may not be, you may not be an alcoholic, you may not be a drug addict, but maybe, you eat a little too much. Maybe you have a problem with anger. Maybe you're trying to make more money in the future. You're trying to improve yourself in some way, shape, or fashion. And the information in these sermons on sobriety can definitely help you do that. All right. So there is a reason for everybody to come on and check this out. Feel free to share this. Let a couple people know that we're here. All right. And if not, hey, regardless, I'm going to be dropping the message anyway. So anybody who knows me knows I live unapologetically alcohol free, and I recover loudly in all ways, shapes, and forms. So today's not going to be any different. All right. And for those that are on IG, first of all, welcome. I see Phillies in the house. I see my man D Gloves in the house. What's going on, team? You can go to the YouTube channel, which I would suggest everybody subscribe to, and you can watch the live video where I'll be posting. You'll see more on-screen things and whatnot. It may be a little easier to follow along. But if you are on IG on this live, please stay and relax, because everything that, whether I put it on the screen or not, I'm going to be explaining, so you'll be able to hear it and get the message regardless. All right. So I just want to make sure I do that. If you're on Facebook, I want to shout out to my Facebook family, whether it's you're on my personal page or you're on the Sobriety and Black page, or on the Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge page. And for those that are part of the Alcohol Free and Fit family, want to welcome you guys as well. We are on what is this day? What's today? The 7th? Sheesh, hold on, let me check. Day 8. So, well, it's January 8th, but technically it's the 7th day, because we start on January 2nd for the Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge. If you are interested in joining the Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge, we're basically between January 2nd and February 2nd, what we've done is we've pledged to live alcohol free, so drinking no alcohol during that time, those 31 days, and pick a fitness or health goal that we want to attack during that time. So the time that you spend drinking, you can spend working on increasing your bench max, or maybe running, or maybe, starting a workout regimen, or increasing your time at the gym, or cutting out something else that's unhealthy in your life, cigarettes, smoking, overeating, negative emotions, whatever it is that's health-centered and your personal goal, you can do that. And that's what the Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge is all about. You can go to sobrietyandblack.com to sign up. All right. And even though we started on January 2nd, you can join in at any time. All right. I'll send you out an email with a participant guide that kind of helps set you up for success, give you some tools and things to think about that will help you in your journey towards success, health and fitness success, as well as sobriety success. All right. So with that being all said and done,
I pray that you guys have had a great day. If you went to church, great. If not, if you're just a spiritual individual, great. If you're a secular individual, that's fine too. I believe all of this information can be of benefit to you. All right. So, but we are going to be working from, as you see on the screen there, it says the title of this quote unquote sermon, right, is An Eye for Sobriety. And it's coming from Mathew 6, 22 and 3. So if you don't have a Bible, I'm going to put it up here so you don't have to worry about that. And I'll be referring to it. But if you want to consult Google, your closest Bible, whatever you got, you can do that. All right. And this is I'm using the NIV version just because it's kind of a little easier to interpret with regards to the passage itself. All right. So starting with the passage here, I'm going to put it on the screen here. Matthew 6, 22 and 3. We'll start with Matthew 6. The way StreamYard set up, I couldn't put them both, at the bottom here. But Matthew 6, 22 says, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light, right? Then 23 says, but if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness, right? So essentially, from a sobriety standpoint, there are a few things we can get out of this, right? And anybody who's read my book, Sobriety in Black, knows that this comes from the part where I was talking about the superpower of organic clarity, right? Starting with the truth. Earlier this week, I actually did a post on starting with the truth, and you can check that out on the Facebook, IG, talking about that it's important to start with the truth when you are, pursuing sobriety or even staying in sobriety, starting with the truth and how sobriety can help you with getting down to the truth. Now, when we look at 6:22, it says the eye is the lamp of the body, right? So now it takes in light, right? It takes in light, but it also, through you taking this in, it helps guide you in your decisions. When you think about whether to turn right or left, right? When you think about most of the information, starting from when we're children, we take in most of our information through our eyes, right? And everything that comes through our eyes, it comes in one way, and then it's filtered through our perceptions. And it's very important for us to understand that, right? Two people can see the same thing, the same truth, and perceive two different things. And this is where we come into what's light and what can become dark. If you think about a window, they say the eyes are the window to the soul, right? So if your lens has a lot of dirt on it, what your brain processes is seeing is going to be different than somebody whose lens is clear and clean. They can see a clear and clean lens can see more detail. A clear and clean eye can see more detail, and therefore have a more honest perception of what it is taking in, and then guide themselves, which means they can make better decisions, right? With that eye being the lamp, right? In the darkness, you have a lamp to where you can go places, and that lamp kind of opens up your world to where you can see where you're going, right? So it's very important. One of the reasons why recovery is so important and sobriety is important, like it was for me, is because what does alcohol do to your perception? What does it do to your eye, that lamp? What does it do? It corrupts it, right? It skews your perception of events from what you physically see to really everything else, what you hear, how you perceive what you're seeing. Give you a perfect example. I remember I was in a club once, and this is when I was drinking, me, a whole bunch of folks, everybody's up in there drinking and whatnot. And, I guess I should leave that at the bottom. And one guy bumped another guy at the bar. Now, he didn't see the guy, wasn't disrespecting him. He just, bumped him a little bit. But the guy was super duper drunk. Now, what was actually, to the clear of eye, an accident, right? That is the light that came in, which is the truth. A light comes in, right, as an accident, was perceived by this guy, because his eye was dirtied up by alcohol, as disrespect. So what did he do? He responded through a perception, a lens of, oh, this guy's disrespecting me. Big old fight broke out, ends up in the parking lot. This guy ends up getting killed. He ends up shot, dead in the parking lot. Okay? All because of a misperception of what was the truth. He was presented with the truth. Yes, he was bumped, but his perception, because he was drunk, right? And we all of us have been there. If you've been drunk or on drugs, something has happened and you've perceived it in one way, and it was skewed because you were not in the right state of mind, right? And in this case, the story I've told now, this case, it cost this man his life, right? Because he kept on, people were telling him, man, you know, it's not no, F that. And of course, the other guy was drunk too. So, you know, he says, I'm sorry, no, you disrespected me. And now he feels disrespected. So they barking at each other. Well, let's take it outside, fool. They go outside. Next thing you know, one guy shoots the other. He's dead in the parking lot. That man had kids. He's not coming home to see him. And imagine the kids being told why their father died. Oh, because he thought he got bumped in the club, thought he was disrespected. Next thing you know, he's dead in the parking lot. And I thought to myself, that very well could have been me. Because when we drink and when we overindulge in intoxicants, right, what does that do to our perception? It skews it. It dirties our lens up, right? And so we have to be careful, not only on what we focus on, because there are some things we can look at that can change our perception, but also what we ingest and how it can mess that, turn that light into darkness, turn that truth that we could use for our benefit or to help avoid things, right, into darkness, death, emptiness, right? So we have to be cured. We want to make sure that we avoid having dirty eyes. And that's what sobriety is about. And that's what we have to hang on to when, you know, even in my 11 years of sobriety, there may be times where I say, well, man, I could handle a drink. You know, Robin Williams, remember he told a story, you know, God bless his soul, he's dead now, but he talked about after 20 years of sobriety, he thought he could handle drinking while he was on a train looking at beautiful scenery, right? That light came in, but his perception, his pride, which is another thing that can intoxicate and dirty your lens, pride, right? Not being mindful of the fact that, hey, I can't have one drink because one drink turns into 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, a million, right? His pride skewed up his lens. And he said he ended up binging and had to go back into recovery all over again. And so it's important for us to keep our eyes clear, understand the reason why we're living our sober lives and living alcohol free is so that we can see the world for what it is, understand the truth for what it is, and make better decisions. All right, because the older we are, not only do we need to make better decisions for ourselves, most of us, as we grow older, especially as you become a man or a woman, you're more accountable to other people. I don't care if you don't have kids or have kids. Maybe because you're a parent, maybe because you're a boss, a supervisor, maybe because children are looking at you and seeing what you're doing, and they're getting cues off of how men and women act based off of how you act, right? And so it's important for us to make sure that our eyes are healthy. And sobriety is one of the best things you can do to take back that health, because you were sober when you were born. You became an alcoholic. I became an alcoholic. I wasn't born one. I don't care if my mom drank for 9 months while I was in the bed. I wasn't born an alcoholic. I became one. I made a choice to overindulge because I could not stop once I started. Right? So it's important for us to do that. Remember, when we're drunk, we're easily offended. And another thing that I discovered after, achieving and then maintaining my sobriety is that a lot of people, when I was drinking, I tolerated a lot of things and individuals that I no longer would tolerate now. You ever think about the people you were hanging around with when you were drinking, when you were in active addiction? and then you become sober, you start recovering, right? You start learning to live without the alcohol, and what happens? You start looking your perception of the people you see, the truth in the people that you see, that is no longer encumbered or impaired by alcohol. You start to see these people for who they are. I remember there were many people who I was like, man, when I was drinking, I used to hang around these people all the time. But now that I stopped drinking, dude, that dude is a jerk. Like, well, what was I even doing around these people? Some of these people I had no business being around. They were beneath me. I had to talk to my son about that today. Hey, man, some people are just beneath you. Don't feel guilty about saying it. Look, people are beneath you. You're better than the people you're around. Time to tighten up your eye and let that clear eye of perception teach that to you and cut bait, right? And so it's important to, this verse is very strong in reminding you that if your eye is unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. And what you see, and that skewed perception will affect every other part of your body. Think about it. You see something that doesn't anger one person, but because you're drunk, it angers you. Well, now you feel anger within your heart. Now your spirit's affected. Now your emotions are damaged. Whereas somebody else who sees getting bumped as, oh, this was an accident, right? This was just an accident. All right, the person said, sorry, you leave it alone. But when you have that alcohol in your system, when you're inebriated, it skews your perception that your eye is no longer healthy. There's dirt on your lens, right? So you've got to wash it off, right? You've got to wash it off, and you've got to do that every time when you're drinking, right? And when you're drinking and when you're in an intoxicated state, that can, anything can happen. There's a guy right now that's fighting a case. He was playing for the Raiders, Henry Ruggs III, right? $17 million contract, football contract. I believe he was a first-round draft pick playing for the Raiders, right? Whole lot of drama. That's right. Playing for the Raiders, $17 million. I think he might have been 23. Got drunk, arguing with his girlfriend in a car, driving 150 miles down a residential street, smacks into another car that had a lady and her dog in it. They both die. Not only do they die, they burn to death inside, trapped inside the vehicle. And now, he could be facing life in prison. He's going to do some time for sure. Well, let me not say for sure. Because you never know. But he's facing a whole lot of drama. Now, let's assume that he doesn't come from a family that was making $17 million. Many of these players come from, next to nothing, right? And their whole family could have been dependent on him to, bring that money to change the status of their lives, right? Now all that's in jeopardy, right? All because that dirty lens, that was dirtied by intoxicants, entered his system. And we can shake our finger at him, but we've all been, if you've drank in the past, you've been drunk, you've been too drunk at times. I know women who have been drunk, went to sleep, woke up with somebody on top of them, right? I know, people who have committed crimes, like I said, killed people who have been killed, crippled, maimed, lost scholarships, lost loved ones, lost wives, husbands, lost a whole lot from something in a bottle, from poison in a bottle, right? And so it's important for us to keep that in mind. There's a meme that goes around, and I wrote about this in my book. It talks about sobriety is not owned, it's rented, and you have to pay rent. Rent is due every day. And I asked people, well, what is that rent? Because I had to ask myself that. At first, I didn't even understand the meme. And I write the answer to that in my book. It's one word. And if you get my book, find out what that one word is, right? But I kind of allude to it even in this. But it's, you have to know and understand that you got to keep your mind and body healthy, right? And doing that starts with your eyes. It starts with what you take in. And when you're not taking in alcohol, you can start to have the power of organic clarity, which is one of the superpowers of the 12 superpowers of sobriety I talk about in my book. And it's what is alluded to in Mathew 6:22 and 3, right? If your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body is full of darkness, right? The eye is the lamp of the body. It's very important. Okay. Then another thing is when you're looking at sobriety, you have to have, especially for those starting off into sobriety where it looks like it could be impossible. I know when I first started off, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go my whole life with something that I depend on for everything. I depended on alcohol for a good time. It was my pre-sex ritual, my pre-eating ritual, my pre-going out ritual, my if I'm upset ritual. It was how I solved I thought I was solving, or I would say dealing with a whole lot of problems in my life. Drinking. Oh, I'm upset. I go to a funeral, drink. Wedding, drink. It could be good, it could be bad. Oh, I got a raise, drink. Oh, I lost some money, drink. I went to Vegas and blew my whole check, drink. Oh, I lost my woman, drink. Oh, I got a new woman, drink. Right? And then usually when you drink, it results in that left turn, right? It results in that left turn to so much drama. Right. And so it's important for us to have one of the things that will help you stick with sobriety is your perception of it. Right. The eye is a lamp, how you see sobriety. Right. So now we've talked about how alcohol can damage your perception of life's instances. Now we're talking about how do you see sobriety when you go into it? If you've had a problem relapsing over and over, you can stop drinking for 2 days and then you go back to it. Right. How do you empower your perception of sobriety so that it can stick, it's sustainable? And it is about empowering how you see it, right? And that's why I talk about the 12 superpowers of sobriety. If you understand the benefits, financial benefits in sobriety, the physical benefits in sobriety, how you can supercharge those physical benefits by working out. That's one of the things I did, because as soon as you put down the bottle, you automatically start looking better. Literally the day after you stop drinking, you start to earn that glow back that you had when you came out as a child. Your skin starts to clear up over time. Your breath is definitely going to smell better. Your eyes are going to clear up, right? You seem more alert. You don't have to sleep as long. Right? You don't need as much. You can get the more benefit out of your rest, right? And it's important to understand these benefits and go in understanding and remembering, being mindful of those benefits, because they're going to help you. Just like we all understand the benefits of having $1 million. Oh, I could buy this. I could secure my family. I could take care of my kids. I wouldn't have to borrow money for debt. You can list them all. Sit down and write down as many benefits of sobriety as possible. And even if you've been sober for 10 years, 20 years, 3 months, sit down and write them down. Sit down, write them. Think about the goals that you want to pursue and how sobriety helps you do that. That empowers your sobriety, right? Yes, my addiction was alcohol. Absolutely. Somebody asked me, do I have an addiction? Absolutely. All right. I am not an active addict. I am not an active alcoholic. I am a retired alcoholic. That's actually the subtitle of my book. It's Sobriety in Black: Confessions of a Retired Alcoholic. Why do I say retired alcoholic? Because I made a choice to quit the job and walk away from it. But I'm mindful enough to understand that even when you retire from a job, you can always go back to it. Right. So it keeps me honest. That's a clear understanding of where I'm at in life. 11 years sober. All right. 11 years sober. And that I know that, yes, even though I've retired, I can still get rehired. You know, how many times we've seen the movie where the drug dealer says, oh, you know, I'm going to quit selling drugs. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to do this one last event, or this one last issue. Right. These are things that you have to be mindful of. And that's why I say, hey, I'm a retired alcoholic, because I have people that say, you know, well, are you an alcoholic? Are you a this? Well, yeah, I'm predisposed, just like I'm allergic to alcohol. Absolutely. Why? Because if I drink one, I'm going to drink. I don't have a light switch, but I'm a retired alcoholic, right? I'm a retired alcoholic. And that's what that's about. Yeah, we can. I see you posting the question. Yeah, we could talk. DM me. All right. And that's how I empower my perception of my situation, my alcoholism, how I empower my sobriety is being honest with myself and finding that silver lining, understanding that in my retirement, I made a choice to walk away because I had to make a choice. I couldn't be made to walk away. Everybody who's in recovery understands that you've got to make the choice to do it. Can't nobody carry you over the finish line. There really is no finish. You carry yourself over the finish line every day of your life, right? All right. And so that's what you have to do. I tell people when it comes to therapy, I went and started talking to my therapist, and I have other people asking me about therapy. And this is how I use empowering language. And it's really an empowered truth. I say like this. It's not that I need therapy. It's that I deserve it. You deserve therapy. Just like if you had $1 billion, you deserve an accountant. An accountant, what does he do? He's a financial therapist. Now, yes, let's say you made $1 billion because you're good at business. Well, obviously you can make the money, but hey, every professional basketball player has a coach. And, they deserve a coach. They deserve people to tend to their needs. Every single living human being on earth deserves a therapist, right? They deserve a therapist. You deserve to be free of addiction. You deserve all of the help that you need, right? And so when you use these words, they empower you. They're truth. It's the truth. You're not lying to yourself. If you've got issues in your head you need to deal with, well, you deserve to get help. But when you say, well, I need this, and not to say that it is being honest to say that you need it, but it's empowering to say I deserve it, and you deserve it. You deserve to find a path to sobriety that fits you. Okay, you don't have to you don't have to talk to me. You don't have to do AA. You deserve to do it your way, as long as it gets done. I tell people, be very selfish in your sobriety. Whatever's going to work for you, good for you. If it doesn't work for me and I can find another way for it to work for me, good for me, right? And so when you clear your eye up, that perception, and you empower your perception of sobriety and its benefits, you have a better and stronger chance of sustaining it and maintaining it. All right. And that's what, ultimately I want you to understand. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Other things that can make your eyes dirty, your emotions, fear, pride, right? Guilt. All of these things can dirty your eye up. And all your addiction does is increase those, inflame all of those, which is why it's important to have an eye for sobriety, a clear eye. Now, one last thing I want to talk about, because I think it's important, and it's something that a lot of people don't really talk about too much, is that when you do gain this clarity, I like to avoid using this term. They say the gift and the curse. I don't like to say the gift and the curse of clarity, but there are challenges, which is why many people relapse when they get sobriety. Think about it this way. You have a best friend you've been drinking with every day, drinking with for years. Then you stop drinking and they start acting different. And now your relationship isn't as joyous. It isn't as smooth as it used to be because you don't share, as my man says, the social glue of alcohol. That clarity can be hard to deal with. It can be hard to deal with the clarity that, and understanding that some of your relationships you're going to be giving up some relationships in your sobriety. It's just like if you're an ex-gangbanger and all your friends are in the same gang and you decide you want to change your life, it's going to affect the relationship you have with those people in your gang. Negatively to a certain degree, and because it's needed for it to be. Some people you're going to need to just let go. And it's, so sometimes there's a lot of benefits to organic sober clarity, but there are challenges that do come with it that you need to be prepared to deal with. In my book, I talk about bulking and cutting, right? You're going to be cutting and severing some relationships. Some relationships are going to sever themselves. And so in dealing with that clarity, you know, as opposed to saying curse, there may be, you can call it a challenge, the challenge of dealing with that clarity, right? And you have to figure out a way to do that, right? You have to figure out a way to do that. And I talk about some of the ways in the book, and some of the ways that you do it may be different from others. But in order to keep your lens clean and understand the benefits, that's where writing down the benefits, understanding the benefits of that of sobriety and life in the long run and for today. Understanding that, and then understanding the challenges, because for any benefit, there are things you got to go towards, you got to do. If you want to make $1 million, for the most part, you've got to work for it. You're going to have to get up earlier than the person who's happy making $8 an hour, right? So there are challenges to any form of benefit. There are responsibilities to any form of benefit. There's an accountability level that is increased as you strive for more in your life, as you work to repair damage that you have done to yourself in your life of addiction, right? So it's important. And so I want you to understand that. And that's what Mathew 6:22-3 kind of gives you, a perception to understand, a perspective that this eye being your lamp to the body, one, you need to focus, think about what you're taking in, because it does affect you, right? You need to remember that if your lens is dirty, then how you perceive everything else in life is going to be skewed. It's not going to be light. It's going to be dimmer than it was when it showed up. If your window's dirty and it's bright outside, it's not going to look as bright inside. But once you clean that window and it's clear, then all of the light can come in, right? And so you have to remember that. But also understand that as that light comes in, just like heat, it's going to get warmer in the room, could get uncomfortable. And you've got to figure out how to deal with that change, right? So these are some of the things that having an eye for sobriety, some of the things that you want to be mindful of. You want to understand, and you want to, talk to other people, connect with other people. I'm always looking at everything from the standard of my sobriety. And that's what keeps me mindful. It keeps me empowered, and it gives me the strength to get through the today. Because ultimately, we're doing sobriety one day at a time. And any form of self-improvement, whether it's sobriety, whether it's stop smoking, whether it's avoiding negative thoughts, you have to be mindful, and it's a daily process. Don't worry too much about how you're going to deal with it 5 years from now. Focus on how you deal with your thoughts, your addictions, your shortcomings, your insecurities, and how to manage them and face them today. All right. So I hope that poured into you. I want to thank everybody that showed up. Definitely, leave a comment. If you have any questions, you can, like I said, DM me. We can talk about that. My book, Sobriety in Black, Confessions of a Retired Alcoholic, is available on Amazon. You can just go to Amazon and type in Sobriety in Black. It should be the first selection up there. You'll see the bottom half of my beard, my little sobriety, 11-year sobriety coin on my chest. All right. Or you can just go to sobrietyinblack.com and all the information's there. Also, again, if you're interested in joining us for the Alcohol Free and Fit Challenge of 2023. We started January 2nd, but you definitely, and we invite you, you're free to start today, all right? Or tomorrow or next week, doesn't matter. Just fill out, go to sobrietyinblack.com, scroll down till you see the challenge, and you'll see a sign up now link. You can click that, fill out the form, and then I'll be emailing you some information that'll be of use to you as we go through this challenge. And then I'll be adding you to some other groups, or inviting you to some other groups, so that you can get together with other people that are, working at living alcohol free during this challenge and focusing on fitness goals. All right. I'm going to be interviewing nutritionists, trainers, people that deal with working out with blockages in your mind, right? Self-defeating thoughts. All of these things are going to be information that's going to be offered to you. So I'm wishing you the best. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Feel free to DM me on any and all platforms. Leave a comment. If you can like it, if you're on YouTube, give me that thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And until next Saturday, peace.